Good morning, students. Today we are going to begin a new chapter from history, the making of a global world. So, how this world become shorter for the people, how it came closer to one another in terms of food, thoughts, technologies, ideas, etc. We are going to discuss about this in this chapter. So, let's begin. The Silk Routes present the good example of pre-modern trade and culture link between distant parts of the world. The Silk Routes are an extensive interconnected network of trade routes across the Asian continent, connecting East, South, West Asia and Mediterranean world, including North Africa and Europe. This Silk Routes shows the importance of Chinese silk in the Western world. Along with silk, Chinese pottery also traveled through this Silk Route, and spices, textiles from India and Southeast part also moved to the Western countries. In return, what we got? Precious metals like gold, silver, etc. from Europe. Trade also linked the cultural exchange. Early Christian missionaries and later Muslim preachers came to Asia through this route. Much earlier, Buddhism had spread many parts through the Silk Route. The Silk Route do not imply a continuous journey. Very few travelers traveled the whole route from beginning to the end. Now, how food? In the second topic here given, food travels, spaghetti and potato. How food travels from one part to another. Traders and merchants introduced new crops to the lands they traveled. Even ready food stuff in distant parts of the world might share common origins. Noodles from China came to the West, where it came to be known as spaghetti. Arab traders took pasta to Sicily, an island of Italy in the Mediterranean Sea. Similar foods were also known in India and Japan. Christopher Columbus discovered a large continent in 1492, which was later came to be known as America. Many of our common foods such as potatoes, soya, groundnuts, etc. that from American Indians, the original inhabitants of America, we got from that. These foods were not known to our ancestors and were introduced about centuries ago in India. Sometimes new crops could make the difference between life and death. Potato, like as example, became staple food for the poor people of Ireland. They became so dependent on potato that when the potato crop failed in mid 1840s, thousands of people died due to starvation. So next topic is conquest, disease and trade. Two very important discoveries were made in the last decade of the 15th century which shaped the coming events. First was the discovery of America and the second was the discovery of sea route to India. Indian Ocean was a busy sea route for trade, cultural exchange of ideas, customs and knowledge, etc. When the sea route was discovered to Europe, the European traders and merchants also joined this profitable trade. Before the discovery of America, the continent developed in isolation. From 16th century, its abundant land, crops and minerals shaped the lives of the people everywhere. Peru and Mexico had extensive silver mines. The precious metals were mined by the Europeans to add to their wealth. This wealth was used to finance their trade with Asia. Legends spread about El Dorado, South America's fabled city of gold. As a result, several expeditions were sent in search of this fabled land. The Portuguese and Spaniards had large parts of South America in the 16th century. It was not only their superior firearms which helped them to conquer America, but germs also, such as those of smallpox that they carried to their persons, on their persons. Original inhabitants had no immunity against these diseases because of their isolation. Smallpox proved to be a deadly disease. It spread deep into the continent and killed thousands of people. It led to the conquest of America. Until the 19th century, cities in Europe were very crowded. Poverty and hunger were very common, and deadly diseases were widespread. Religious conflicts occurred very often, and religious dissenters were persecuted. Those who wanted to escape punishment fled from Europe to America. These Europeans had already established large plantations of cotton and sugar in the 17th and 18th centuries. They brought slaves from Africa to work on these plantations. They produced agricultural goods for the European markets. Till the middle of the 18th century, India and China were the richest countries. However, from the 15th century, China gradually restricted her trade with foreign countries and drew into isolation. India also lost her preeminent position after the British conquered. Now, the center of trade, after these incidents or events, the center of trade, which was earlier based on India and China, moved to the west, and Europe emerged as the center of world trade. This much for today. Thank you.